Well, hello. How's everybody this morning? Let's see, we need to get a little organized here. There, volume town. Here we go. Let's see if we can get a YouTube up. Good morning. Nice to be here. Good to see so many friends. I think folks are coming over from Discord. Good morning. Monday. 1 week from today, I'll be flying out to Maryland. I'm trying to get all the bits and pieces together so that when I go, I can take my life with me, in effect. Need to have a means of communications. Need to be able to get email, talk to the bank. And of course, be able to talk with you all. Not sure how I'm going to do that yet. I stopped in at AT&T to look at getting a tablet. And it was about $40 a month for the next 3 years to get a tablet. So I decided against that. I do have a laptop. I'm going to see if I can get it functioning and check that if I can find a briefcase to put it in. Excuse me. Other than that, I guess I'll use my phone. I mean, it'll work. Won't be terrific, but it'll work. Hey, Chevy Fish, good morning to you. RB Animals. Let's see if we can get a few hellos in. Naresh was here top of the morning this morning. Derek Thompson. And let's see who came in after that. Alexander. Fish and Tantics. Oh, I think it's the way we'll be back. Brad Hobbs. Hi, Brad. Paul C. Brad Hobbies it is. The anti-NWO fish. Talking about, who was it said? Oh, Brad. Brad Hobbies said he is yellow this morning. So he's crossed a month threshold as a member of the channel. Congratulations, Brad, and all of you who are members of the channel. Membership in the channel or in Patreon allows you to have special access on Discord. Allows you to post links as well as videos and pictures and participate more deeply in that experience. The anti-NWO fish is here. Joking about lawyers. Marky 0306. Hi, Marky. David Mann, Paul C. Mermaids Chorus. Good morning, Mermaids. 3G. Hi, 3G. Glass Box Fox. Hello. RB Animal Rescue. Emily Stevens. Hi, Emily. Benoxky Tanks, good morning, Benoxky. Anna Robinson, Dominic, Xanadu, good morning, Xanadu. Love to you. Marty 80, hi, Marty. Tisha, good morning, Tisha. Although it's not morning where you are, it's late afternoon. Same as it is with Naresh. The two of you are on complete opposite sides of the world. So we are literally communicating all over the world this morning. We have people in Europe, people in Asia. And don't tell me it's not called Asia. That's the continent, Asia. Right. Naresh happens to be in Sri Lanka. We have folks in the Himalayas, the Philippines, literally all over the world. Marty 80, hello Marty. Chevy Fish, hi Chevy Fish. Foxy's Fishes, well, hello Foxy. Delighted to see you. Nice to have you with us. I have been enjoying your weekend streams. They are wonderful. Such an absolute delight. And I'm delighted you're here with us. Dominic, Christina Whitaker, Wandering Witness. Wandering Witness. Wandering Witness, I love it. We're going to turn Wandering Witness blue just for being called Wandering Witness. Andrew Todd. Hello, Andrew Todd. And Wanderer, and I am at the bottom of the chat. That's remarkable. And nothing else is going on yet. Good morning, Ricky from Foxy. You betcha. Well, as you know, we try to keep this daily stream driven by you, driven by the chat. So we deal with the issues that you raise, which is to say, if you don't raise any issues, we don't deal with it. So we need your participation in order for this to roll along. Oh, you're welcome, Foxy. Very, very much. I talked to Mary Page, Sunday, and we're going to try to do a live stream with special guests. And I think we're going to do this as a weekend thing. I haven't nailed it down with her yet, and I'm going to be tied up for the next 2 weekends, so it may not even be possible to do it for a while. But that's in the works, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to get that together. There's some really exciting new young people who are coming on strong on YouTube, have great fish rooms, are deeply involved in some pretty sophisticated avenues of fish keeping, and we want to be able to feature them and talk with them and get to know them better and do what we can to promote them. So look forward to that in coming weeks. As soon as we can get all the parts together, we'll be doing that on a routine basis. And who better to co-host that with than Mary Page. Ro, hello, Ro. Ro, I've got some fish coming out to you today. Today being the 17th, and you ordered them shipped on the 17th. So today's the day. Nice to see you. Good to have you with us. Hannah Robinson. Hello, Hannah. I think I got everybody. Emily, Paul, Chevy, Glassbox. I think I did. Harvey, Marky, Chevy. What a crowd. What a crowd. Delighted to have you all here. Garden of Eden, am I excited for Aquachella? Well, I'm trying to figure out how to get it all together. Um, Welcome, Garden of Eden. Grant, nice to see you. I think I'm going to be going as Father Fish and probably being in the YouTube area primarily. I want to get around and see everything, of course, but I want to be able to meet uh, folks who are coming over, and I've already had a few over on Discord tell me they're coming and looking forward to meeting me, and I'm certainly looking forward to meeting them and to those of you too who are going to be able to come. So it's going to be special. It'll be fun. I'm sure it'll be exciting. Are you going to be doing any sales, Grant? Are you planning to do a booth or a table? Kyle's Aquametrics. Hello, hello. Yeah, I like the idea too, and I think it's something that we just don't do enough of. So, looking forward to it. Want to get to know some of these guys. You know, people like Grant Eater up there, and so many others. Oh my goodness, you've got 9 boxes you're sending out. You're doing great. Good for you, Ro. I have 2. Yours and a package of supplements are going out today. Let's see, Tishy Shiva Garden of Eden be sharing a booth with Aquachar. Oh, nice. Nice. I don't know how to do that. I want to, but perhaps you could help me figure out how to do that. That is my intention. Garden of Eden is asking if I got into the fish tube booth, and I haven't yet, but I would like to. But I don't know who to contact or how to do it. Maybe I'll give you a buzz a little later and find out what I need to do to make that happen. Sue Ann, hello, Sue Ann. Sue Ann Campbell is here. Nice to see you. So that's going to be in June, of course. Oh, who else? Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Garden of Eden. So, Ann, my planted tank is doing amazing. However, I had to temporarily put my 7-inch Oscar in there, and he is starting to eat them. Well, that can be a problem, can it? Um, put some greens in, some lettuce. Romaine is good. Something else for him to chew on that might draw his attention away from pulling plants up. Um, Foxy is saying morning bird song is the best way to wake up the brain peacefully. Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Friday, I did night sounds. I did crickets and frogs chirping and all of that sort of stuff. And I noticed it put everybody to sleep. It was the dullest stream I think we've ever had. I will never do crickets again. It was really dreadful. Let's see. Bruiser is here. Good morning, Bruiser. Nice to see you. Good to have you with us. Imre van Valgui. Well, hello, Imre. Imre is a remarkable guy. He's from one of those Scandinavian countries over there, Holland, I think, and does some really remarkable aquariums. That's somebody else who want to get up on uh, our invitational and get to know a little better. Nice to have you with us, Imre. Tommy Denda. Well, there's another one. Tommy, Father Fish, like to ask you about substrate. How does the dirt smell in an old dirted tank? If you were to take a handful of dirt from bottom to top, like anaerobic pond mud, maybe, well, I don't know that I would do that, Tommy. I mean, would have to, in effect, break the tank down to do it. Um, I have not really noticed once it's settled and kind of settled in and functioning, which takes a few months. But once it's all settled in, I've never noticed there's an odor much at all. I think one of the things I have noticed is that if the dirt part of the substrate is more than an inch deep, if it's like 2 inches or so, it has a tendency to foul. If it's an inch deep with 2 inches of sand on top, it tends to assimilate. It gets involved with the sand, gets involved with detritus flowing into it. It seems to be healthier than if it's 2 to 3 inches. If it's a really deep, mucky, muddy substrate, my experience is that it not only fouls, but it'll foul the tank. It's important to not do more than 1 inch. 1 inch seems to work effectively. Beyond that, and it can be a problem. Now, it should not be like pond mud. Should not be that deep. Pond mud is feet deep. Shouldn't be like that. Thanks for bringing that up, Tommy. I think there are not many people who get in trouble because there are not many people who do the substrate deeper than an inch. But if you do, it's going to be a problem. Chevy Fish like the night sounds. It was nice, the owl particularly, but it kind of put everybody to sleep. So it was not all that delightful. Imre is from the Netherlands. Tommy says that tells me it's not that anaerobic. That may well be, Tommy. Emily did her tank last night and thinks she might have put too much mud in. We were hassling her and haranguing her to get her tank together. Emily, don't worry about it. Put a little more sand in if you need to. You had it. She had a good sand cut. Should be fine. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Joshua wants to know how to grow dwarf hairgrass better. We were talking about this on Discord last night, using the deep substrate method. How do we get shallow-rooted plants going? And I think what we have to do is we have to mulch the surface. Now, we don't want that mulch flitting around in the tank, so we're going to have to cap it with a very fine sand and just maybe half an inch or a little less. So a thin layer of mulch and half an inch of very fine sand. Now, where do you get very fine sand? There are a couple of sources. Concrete sand is very fine. You have to wash it out because it's somewhat dusty. But if you'll do that, if you rinse it out, you can use that, and it is, a significantly finer than beach sand or pool filter sand. Put a thin layer of that, like half an inch no more, on top of quarter of an inch to half an inch of mulch. Half an inch is good, half an inch to half an inch. And then gently and carefully press the shallow rooted plants like hairgrass, cuba, and so forth. Press it down into there, and it should work that way. And the mulch will not leach out quite as badly as some other kinds of soil. So try that. If it's not working effectively, then you might need to use some black cow or other kind of manure, other kind of enriched soil. But I think if we try it with mulch first, peat moss is good, coconut fiber maybe, something that'll break down easily and is not going to be become a problem in the tank. But again, keep it shallow. Excuse me. Tommy Denda. You just stopped me from making my substrate too deep. Yeah, I've done it. I did a video a while back in which I was just kind of throwing stuff in and throwing it together. And I would say had a 2 to 3 inch dirt layer in there with a couple inches sand on top and a 10-gallon tank. My intention was to break it down, to just dump it all out at the end, but one of my employees decided to keep it. So he put water in it and he kept it, and it was foul from day one and never got over being foul. It was really dreadful. So yeah, you can overdo it with the dirt. Canistio, hello Canistio. I made my 45-gallon with more than an inch of mud. So I put 3 to 4 inches of sand on it, reasoning it's a taller tank on a 36 base. So I may have made a mistake. If it is not creating an immediate problem, it's going to be fine. If it's a problem, you'll know it right away. You won't have to wait around. Emily said art sand is fine. Yeah, you can use art sand. There are a lot of colors available, about 18 different colors. I'm not currently carrying it, but I can post that link for anyone who wants to be able to buy art sand. Let's see, Imre has a link. And I'm going to go to it and see what it is. Bugs. What is he looking at? That's cool. Let me show you. Show you what Imre has sent us. These are his pictures. My. He does phenomenal photographic work. I was just really impressed with the picture he did of microscopic life in his tank. And he does it with a regular camera. Oh, these are wonderful. Really wonderful. Micro to macro, look at this. My. Imre Van Belgui, thank you so much. These are wonderful. A little moth, a stink bug. My. Shrooms, shrimps, springs, kitties, and it goes on and on. Follow the link. That's really remarkable. Thank you so much. Lost myself there. Christina Whitaker, my dirt burps when I do a water change. My lily is all the way to the bottom. My tank has only been up for 6 weeks, and the burps don't stink. No, it's nitrogen. It's not going to be any odor at all. And the burping is perfectly normal. Tisha is talking to Emre. All right, you guys. Maple Street, hello, hello. Morning, Father Fish and Shoal. Happy to have you with us. Good to have you here. I jumped down. I gotta go back now. Okay. Chevy is suggesting wearing face protection, a mask, when dealing with sand that has silicates to avoid lung irritation. 51, hello. Ray Derek Thompson, had a little bit too much dirt initially, but I'm combining the sand cap to the sides, combing it to the sides, siphoning the mixed sand layer, getting some of the dirt out like that, then replacing the sand by hand. That certainly works. That's an effective way to do it. The difficulty, of course, is that you also are going to need to do some water changes because you're exposing that dirt to the water column. So you're getting a certain amount of nutrition into the water column. But that certainly is an effective way to remove excess soils. RB, hello RB. Blues barrels, where can I get black aquarium sand? Tractor Supply sells it. It is sold as blasting sand. So any place that's that would otherwise sell blasting sand, most big hardware chains should carry it. They don't always. I have found it consistently at Tractor Supply. Josette, hello Josette. Nice to see you. Happy to have you here, dear friend, as well. RB said he found his at Petco. Yeah, some of the pet stores will carry small bags of black sand. You can buy it in 50-pound bags, however, at Tractor Supply. DL Myth, do you sell pre-made dirt? Or should I follow the ingredients? When I add an inch of dirt and 2-3 inches of sand, then put plants, how long before I can put fish? The next day. Put a few fish in the next day. And yes, I do sell the supplement, not the dirt, but I sell the supplement. It's on Get Deals. You can find it there. And I'm going to have to take a break, I'm afraid. I'm having an issue that I need to pay attention to. Let's get a little music up, and I'll be back in a moment or two. Sorry. Mercy. Derek Thompson. I patted down level and sloped from back to front with my ruler afterwards, and then added more sand on top of all of it to add more pressure to the dirt layer. Took a few water changes, but it worked. There's another little trick. If you don't want the look of the lasagna at the front of the tank, you can take the end of a net and press it down against the glass all the way down to the bottom. And it will allow sand to fill in. That is, just draw it across, and sand will fill in that whole area. So it'll just be the look of sand. You won't have that dirt look. Some people like it, some people don't. But it is a way to overcome it. Joshua Landers. I have 28 neon tetras, I believe, in my 10-gallon. How much should I feed them? A long article. You said a plate a piece on time, I think. If you have a deep substrate dirty tank with a lot of plants in it, and you have a rich substrate that's growing permaculture, that's growing microculture, I should say, paramecium, other little bugs, and still little cyclops and whatnot. And you have the lights on enough that you're getting certain kinds of algae growing. Then with a 10-gallon tank with 28 neons, if it's a well-established tank, you don't need to feed them at all. They will find food in the tank. They're part of the chain. They're part of the cycle. The fish are very much a part of the cycle. Small fish in a little tank. Now, a big fish will be very different, of course. It's not going to be satisfied with microscopic animal life or vegetable. But neons will. They will root around. They'll find things. They'll find things on plants. They'll find things in the bottom. They will find food in there sufficient for them. Again, it takes a tank that's been set up for a while. You can't do this day one and expect it to work. You do need to be feeding, but you want to feed very, very, very sparingly because the tank, you don't want the tank to become dependent on new nutrition coming in all the time. It'll get overwhelmed eventually. It'll create such a bio load then it'll begin to break down. So feed tiny bits every few days, not every day. Feed a pinch every 2 days, every 3 days in the beginning. And then once you get a couple of months, you can skip a whole week. Feed once a week. And then less and less. I don't know how many of you followed Lee when he was doing his no feeding regimen and his poop patrol. He has a 50-gallon tank with about 100 live bears in it. He also had some tetras and I don't remember what else. Frogs. The frogs he hand fed. They gave them little frozen bloodworm. But the rest of the fish, once he had this tank set up and established, and it had been up for a year or more, I think 2 years, before he finally put sand on it, capped it, and then it just began to explode. But he stopped feeding altogether. He did not feed for 6 months and went on poop patrol, checking to see if the fish were actually defecating, if they were eating and voiding, and they were consistently. At the end of 6 months, he had babies, he had healthy fish, the tank was thriving with no food at all going in that tank. So pay attention to what's going on. You'll be able to tell. Don't let the fish become dependent on you putting food in there. Make them dependent upon what's happening in the tank, what's happening in terms of the life forms in the tank, so that tank will be able to effectively supply their needs. Joshua Landers, hello, hello. DL Myth, hi DL Myth, Cubby Grass Galore guy. This morning I look into my 30-gallon and noticed 5 Amano shrimp. I thought I was down to 4 since I never see them all at the same time. Maybe I still have 6. Well, maybe you do. It's funny counting things like that. You think you're counting the same ones, and you may not be. I can count fish in a bag. Nothing else in the bag except those fish. And I'll have to do it over and over again just to make sure I get the right count. It's really strange. Tommy Denda. Oh, here we go. He's going to grind me into the dirt now. Tommy Denda. Do you know why the dirt layer isn't that aerobic if that's the case? Doesn't the sand layer prevent oxygen from entering the dirt layer? I don't think it's a matter of that. I don't think it's a matter of it being more or less aerobic. I mean, perhaps it is. I think it's a matter of imbalance. It's a matter of too much anaerobic, too much chemical factory going on, creating an excess of gases that overwhelm the system. I think that's the control. The control is to keep it within range so that it can be compensated for, so it can be dealt with, so it doesn't overwhelm the process. So we keep that dirt layer down relatively thin. If you make it thicker, it's gonna be like a bomb, and it'll just force its way up and out. But thinner, it'll have less strength, less power, if you will, less ability to overcome the rest of the system. I don't know. This is all very theoretical. And I'm telling you things that I think are true, based on experience. It's explanations are funny things. We can explain ourselves away. It doesn't mean our explanation has very much bearing at all on reality. It's simply our way of getting hold of our environment and interpreting it in a way that allows us to function in relationship to it. But clearly, our, our, our modern scientists, or particularly our modern physicists, are telling us that we don't know anything at all about the nature of reality. And I dare say that's true. What we know is the principles and the ideals and the practices that make it possible for us to function in a way that's wholesome and healthy. And if we can do that, continue to do that, then that little fish tank of ours will be an expression of our love of nature and our desire to share in and participate in the natural world. Dominic, take care. See you later. DL myth. DL. So, if you set up the dirted tank with live plants and put fish in the next day like you stated, will there be enough bacteria for the full nitrogen cycle, or will that take time like normal? Here's the difference. You're not going to be putting a whole lot of food in there. A very few fish, a lot of plants, and the plants will be able to absorb the ammonia directly. Plants absorb ammonia directly. They take it up through the leaves directly. By feeding very sparingly, waste is getting into the substrate quickly. And so that ammonia and other matters that are breaking down are being dealt with on a substrate level and not in the water column. It's all a matter of going slow and achieving a balance and trying to maintain that balance. The key to it is plants, lots of plants. And you want fast growing plants. You don't want to put a bunch of use in a brand new tank because it probably will die. You don't want to load it up with Cuba because it probably will die. You want to put Anacris, Vallisneria, Cabamba, Ludwigia, plants that are going to root, that are going to grow quickly, water sprite, perhaps water wisteria, stuff that's going to grow quickly, that's going to blow up. Because that'll be able to achieve, that way you will be able to achieve the balance in your tank very quickly. Does that help DL? DL needs to be blue. He needs to feel like he's part of the crowd. Welcome to the mob. Dominic, how come you're not blue? Huh. Dominic, interesting. I think I know why. Dominic, are you still here? I'll catch him over on Discord later. Emily, I learned on research that psychologic plausibility is one of the least reliable methods of forming a hypothesis. Physiologic plausibility. Well, I dare say, physiologic plausibility. It nevertheless is frequently the only thing we've got to go on. We do need to keep learning, keep growing, and try to figure out what really is going on. But the bottom line is all we really have is our own insights and our own wisdom, our own experience, and our own intelligence. For better or worse, that's what we've got to go with. We just got a Facebook like from Sue Ann Campbell. Nice. Thank you, Sue Ann. Let's see. We're on Twitter today. Haven't seen any Twitter comments, but we're there. Chris Trapp, good morning. How do we set up forever saltwater tank? You guys are going to hammer me on this, aren't you? Until I finally break down and do it. I want to do it. I'm not going to be able to do it until I get back from Maryland. So it's going to be 2 weeks. And I got to figure out a way to do it. Actually, I've got a little bowl over here right now. Let me get it and show you. I went out last Saturday, I think, and collected a few saltwater items. And they're in this mess. There's actually a couple of gobies in here. I don't know if we're going to be able to see them. Yeah, right. Is that one? Looks like it. Yeah, right there. Here he is. Little algae goby. And there's some other scuds and whatnot in here. So I've got some material. I'm hoping to keep it alive long enough to get me started. I want to do this. I really do. I need to figure out how I'm going to do it and what I'm going to do it in. Meanwhile, this guy's living in got a little airstone in there with him to keep him going until I can get set up. I will do it. I may have to break down an existing tank to make it happen, but whatever it takes. Emily says it's a shame. Apparently God's understanding often surpasses our own. I dare say. I dare say. DL Myth. Just a month old in the fish hobby. My dad's tank is a mess right now with zero ammonia, little nitrate, no nitrates. A couple of Vallisneria gigantea. Need to do water changes constantly. DL, add 2 inches of sand. Just go ahead and put it in. If you can't get clean sand, then rinse it. Put 2 inches of sand in, right on top of whatever it is you've got. And that's going to stabilize the whole situation and resolve things out for you. Just add 2 inches of sand. Just do it. You'll be happy you did. Derek Thompson at 10:15. Anacris and Ludwig are great, and you can propagate those sooner using my clippings to manually carpet my tank slowly, also like Amazon swords. But I prefer them anchored in a moss ball. Oh dear. Yeah, Amazon swords are great. It's a good tank, a good plant to put in the deep substrate. They grow quickly, they love the depth, and they'll develop an enormous root system. Emily says, do it, right, do it. Biodiversity, Tommy says, that's the key. The key is biodiversity. And I have yet to find some ways of really effectively demonstrating biodiversity, but I'm working on it. I think what I'm just going to have to do is get out and show you uh, collecting little bits of mud here, there, and elsewhere, and throwing them all together. And then what I'll probably do is I'll probably start selling packages of biodiverse mud. Call it super mud or some such thing. See if we can really begin to impact this hobby with the importance of biodiversity. Christina Whitaker, I had so much gubby grass and hornwort in my tank in 6 weeks. I had to plant it in the substrate to get light to my carpet plants. I've already reached 90% plant coverage. That's wonderful, Christina. The more plants you have, the more fish you can have. You can double whatever fish you got in there. Just load them up. The more plants you have, the more fish you can have. DL Myth. Perfect. Thanks for the tip. I'll add the 2 inches of sand since he has gravel right now. Put it right on top of the gravel. Do not take the gravel out. And the sand is not going to bother anything. The fish will not even notice it happening. Just pour it right in on top of the fish. You can do it half an inch at a time, every half an inch every 2 or 3 days. So in a week or two, you'll have the full 2 inches. Just put small amounts in at a time. If it freaks you out to put it all in at once. But do not take the gravel out and do not worry about the fish. The only issue is you want it to be not dusty. You want it to be pretty rinsed because you don't want to get the tank cloudy. Joshua wants to know if I can talk about goldfish. I don't have a lot to say about goldfish. I like goldfish. I think they're stunning. I like fancy goldfish. Goldfish tend to do well in community tanks, providing nothing is chewing them up. They're a good cleaner. They will, however, eat plants. They do love to eat plants. So you want to be somewhat careful about how and where you put them. Little goldfish work fine in a community tank. The bigger ones can be a problem, but they certainly do well enough. And generally speaking, goldfish have been bred in warm enough environments that they can tolerate 80 degrees in your fish tank without stress. Smud. Smud, he calls it. D3V. Hey, D3V. Smud. Smud. I don't know. Smud. I see. Joys of Sorrow. Good morning. Hello to you, and nice to see you, and great to have you with us. Smud is an awesome name. Derek says, Father Smud. Smud. Maybe I don't get it. Am I not getting it? Is there some hidden message there that my old brain isn't getting? Smud. Tommy, I sometimes get caught up in the theory. I love biology so much. Yeah, you do. Tommy's a great researcher. He's found some things that are just really kind of remarkable. And it can be depended upon to come up with well-researched super mud, smud, super mud, smud, smud, super mud. Yeah, where they eat duckweed. Joyce and Sorrow goldfish absolutely adore duckweed. It is their favorite food in the world. In point of fact, I had a big vat with koi and goldfish in it, and that's all I ever fed them. They got a big clump of duckweed every day because we were pulling it off of their tanks every day. They love it. Oh, D3V, smooth. Smooth. Now there we go. Smid with an umlaut. That's funny. That's funny. What is my favorite fish? Joshua says. It changes all the time. It depends on what I have or what I'm trying to get. I mean, it's been a lot of different things. Right now, what's my favorite fish? Probably right now, probably these. Let's see if I can do this without tearing things apart. These buffaloes. Well, you can see them. I've got a colony of buffaloes in here, and I love them. I've had them for the last 2 to 3 years, and I have had them spawn. These guys are getting big enough to do it. I've got a few rams in there I need to remove. There are too many males, but good chance they're going to be spawning in there. Just a really neat little fish. I don't know, favorite fish. Favorite fish is kind of, I'll tell you what happened. Having the shop, I got the shop so I could get all of my favorite fish. And I did. I had hundreds of tanks and hundreds of species of fish, probably 1,000 or more species during the time I was there. And I kind of got that favorite fish thing out of my system because I had a chance to try everything that was available that I could afford, brought it in. And even things I couldn't afford. I mean, I got the big catfish, the one that gets 8 feet long and eats people. I had a few of those. I had everything. It was amazing. And it kind of got past it all to the point where I now have small tanks, a small number of small tanks. I'm anxious to do natives. I've got some tubs outside, so I can get them out there right now. I've got them inside. So I'm just kind of working through. I have a few fish that I brought with me from the shop. I picked up a few like these angels. These really nice albinos. This is from Chuck. And then the koi I got from an auction at the Tampa Club. And I got eggs, but I don't think they're fertile. I'm looking at eggs on the bottom that look to be infertile. I don't know if you can see that down there, but I think that's nothing. So we'll give them another shot. These two are the ones that spawned. I got her to mate with the koi, and I now have a slate in. They laid their leaves on a piece of Java fern, laid their eggs on a piece of Java fern, and I think they were not fertile. I probably pulled it out too quickly. I saw a bunch of eggs and decided to get it out. I probably should have left it a bit longer. Anyhow, I think my favorite fish has become what I have, which seems funny, I guess, but I think it's really true. Yeah, they are nice angels. Joy says my two 20-gallon long make about a red solo cup full of duckweed every 2 weeks, whatever, every week to 10 days. Yeah, it doesn't take much. Um, Koi love it. If you got a koi pond, man, best thing in the world to feed them is duckweed. Derek Thompson, what's your thought experience on breeding for hardiness and temperament versus line breeding for aesthetics? I think there's not enough done. Any good breeder, particularly a breeder of fish like guppies, will reach a point where they will bring in a new strain or a new fish in order to increase hardiness, in order to keep um, the temperament and the hardiness of the fish up. It's really vital. If you don't do it, you wind up going down a more and more a narrower and narrower road that winds up in catastrophe. You wind up 10 generations down, which with fish that may be stunning for a short period of time, but generally won't survive. So you have to do it. It's critical. Naresh wants me to say something about Tom. I'll show you. This is Tom. Tom was we had Tom with us for almost 15 years. His mother was a stray Persian, and we bred her to uh, a big tomcat. And Tom came out with a sister. The sister was breech birth and was brain damaged. And wound up, we had to put her in a cattery. Um, it was a no-kill cattery. So that was many years ago. And we followed her for a while, but kind of lost track. I think she may have been adopted out at one point. Tom died last fall. He developed very severe arthritis, and it got to the point where he couldn't walk anymore. He just dragged himself by his front legs and laid in the litter box all day. Couldn't eat. Um, so we got a vet friend and we took care of him. Gave him a quiet death. Tom was a good friend. He was more like a dog than a cat. Had him with me years and years. He was the shop mascot. He would greet everyone who came in the store. Come out, look up, say hello, like to be petted. Once he was petted, he'd walk back in, get back in his chair in the office. Really wonderful cat. DL Myth, in a dirted tank, do you vacuum the sand when doing a water change or no need for either just top off? Do water change, something crazy happens. Yeah, I do water change as needed. If there's a reason to do it, I do it. And the reason might be that the nitrates have climbed higher than I like. The pH has dropped. The water has become cloudy. Something has happened to change the balance, and I'll do a water change. Medication. Once you finish medication, that's grounds for a water change. There are a lot of good reasons to do water changes. My belief is they ought to be done because there's a good reason to do them, not simply to do them. Now, if you don't have a deep substrate, so you don't have a balanced tank, then a good reason to do water change is to try to achieve stability in the water column, which you're not able to do through the substrate. So you have to do by doing water changes. The way to overcome water changes is to do a deep substrate. You do that, you won't need to do regular weekly water changes because you'll have a balanced tank, which again, you don't have if you've got a heavily fed, heavily fished tank with a gravel base. It's impossible for that to be balanced to any significant degree, and therefore will require routine water changes in order to be able to maintain stability in the tank. Christina, gooch catfish from India. Yeah, that's right, I had gooch. My first fish was a bullhead cat out over 10 years. Nice. I've had bullheads, neat fish. In fact, I caught and ate one for dinner last night, right off the dock here in the back. Derek, you might want to research gray water systems a bit. But in short, yes, you can use human waste, talking at 2B, use human waste as fertilizer. It's very involved and specific process. Andre Scott, did I close up the store? Yes, I did in February, Andre. We sold everything out down to the walls. Absolutely nothing left. They came in with a scraper and cleaned out the last of it, and it is now a bare wall, bare to the walls. Did a little video a couple of months ago entitled Only the Echo Remains. You can see the way the store looks now. Jenny Lynn. Hello, Jenny Lynn. Good morning to you. Brad Hobbies. A lot of us on Father Fish's Discord keep rams. You could join to ask for in-depth advice. Talking to Andre Scott. Yeah, there's a lot of ram stuff going on Discord, and a lot of people doing really quite well. So it's a wonderful source. Tommy Denda, great idea, Father Fish. You can even make a dirt tea to make it stretch for a longer time and make more money. Don't know what that refers to, but I'll take it. Chris Trapp, RAP Tom, you bet. Tommy Denda, imagine if one could sell biodiverse dirted tank liquid for all kinds of locations from around the world. Well, that's not too far-fetched, Tommy. Garth, the Geothermal Research Foundation, did coral reef systems, and they collected bacteria literally from all over the world and enriched their substrate with that, and then sold that as what they referred to as miracle mud. Miracle mud. So super mud is sort of a takeoff on that. But they sold it in 1 pound packages. You could take this and spread it out. I had a friend who said you should make lines with it rather than simply the aspirate. But put it in your tank and it would bring all of that new life, all that new bacteria, that biodiversity into your system. And I did that, and it worked. It was kind of amazing. I had very stable environments. It was remarkably stable. So, yeah, that's very doable, Tommy. And I kind of would like to do it, like to be able to get into it. I think it would be exciting and fun to do. Yes, Naresh, Tom is a Bengal. Absolutely. It was a cross between a Bengal. Now, a Bengal is a cross. It's not a purebred Bengal. It was a Bengal cross with a big tomcat. And Tom was bred, Tom's mother was bred to the tomcat. So Tom was about 25% Bengal. Joy's, of all the years I had the story, do you remember both your best and your worst customer? wow. I had a lot of best customers, a lot of them. Worst customers, one or two come to mind. There was one, an older gentleman who would come in, look carefully at all the tanks, and just start critiquing. That fish doesn't look healthy. I don't like those plants in that tank. That costs too much. What have you done there? You can't put those fish together. And this went on and on. He would come in once a week or so and just stand there and grump about the tanks. And I would try to engage him and try to be conversational about this. Until one day, I just said, look, you don't like anything in this store. You come in here and you grump about it and you bitch about it and complain about it. I want you to not come back into my store again because I'm tired of listening to it. And he was frankly shocked. He was stunned. And he said, what? I said, I mean it. I'm done with you. Nothing satisfies you. You never buy a thing. You come in here and you bitch and whine and moan about everything I'm doing. You got nothing good to say. I don't want you in my store anymore. And he left. And he never came back. I've had a few like that. People that just took advantage. Now, I had two teenage boys who came in. One was a young man who came in just full of himself. Hey, Father Fish! Oh boy, what a great shop! My word! He went around pulling snakes out of cages. Oh, isn't this wonderful? Oh boy, look at me! And I looked at him and I said, you, out! That's all it took. Out! And he put the snake back and he left. About an hour later, he came back in, very humble. Father Fish, I'm so sorry. I was so excited. I love this shop. You know, this guy, he was involved with the shop for its entire history, 15 years nearly. I met him when he was 18. At 31, he died in a car accident, tragically, horribly. I tried for 13 years to get him calmed down enough to be able to work in the shop because he wanted to desperately, and I wanted him to desperately. But he couldn't get off the drugs. He couldn't quit drinking. He couldn't quit just whoring around and being, wild and crazy. And he finally killed himself. Plowed into the back of a bus. Horrible. I will never get over feeling guilty about him. I loved that man. Loved him. Wanted very much. If he were still alive, that shop would be open today. I guarantee you. Because I would still be struggling with trying to figure out how to get him straight enough to be able to come in there and run it. Because he loved it that much. That was one. The other one was a young man who came in full of himself. He was high school football star. Big, burly. Knew everything. Father Fish, that's too much money. I can't pay that. He was going on like this with me. And I said, you, out. Don't come back till you're ready to apologize. 2 hours later, he comes back in the door with his father. And his father looked at me and said, "Father Fish, my son has something to say to you." And he very meekly apologized for being out of line. And he never came to work for me. I'd always wanted him to, but he was busy with other things. He went off to college shortly thereafter, had a wonderful girlfriend who I think he finally married and is now teaching in college. But he had a father who made him toe the line, and he towed the line. And he became just the best friend. Wonderful young man. So, yeah, best and worst. Chevy Fish said Miracle Mud was big back in the 80s. They sent it in the mail. Used to send live detritivores with the mud, but they got killed in shipping from being squished by the mud. Yeah, you remembered that. That's right. That's right. D3V. Father Fish's Miraculous Miracle Mud. 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 Oh, that's good. I like that. Excellent. Leslie's Aquatics. Hello, Leslie. Nice to see you. Missed you too, dear. Whip's World. Love to keep rams, but I don't have the skill set to keep them alive. Send me the electric blue Jack Dempsey. Whip, get over on Discord, and you can do it. You really can do it. It's not that complicated. It's just a matter of getting 2 or 3 variables right, and then you'll be able to do it. We got some folks over there raising baby rams who have never kept a fish in their life, and they're doing brilliantly. You have to join my channel, and if you want to be able to post, you have to subscribe. If you want to be able to post, you have to join here or excuse me, Patreon, and you'll be able to post pictures and the like. Derek Thompson. Saw a video about an organic farm setup with a chicken coop above a tilapia pond. Just feed the chickens. Their waste has hormones, meds, and other junk I wouldn't want back in me. The farmers in the what's it called, the Golden Crescent countries, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand. They have small 1 acre, 2 acre, 3 acre farms. In the middle of the farm is a pond, and everything washes into the pond. And the pond raises fish and Daphne. The Daphne are fed out to whatever baby, little tiny fish they're raising, if they're raising ornamentals. The tilapia, of course, are food. So it's a holistic farm. It's a farm in which everything is enriching everything else. The anti-MWO, had I not quit drugs and alcohol, I would have gone the same way. In fact, I'm very lucky to be alive. So sad to hear. I always try to help those with dependency issues. Amen, anti-MWO. And so many of us have. Yeah, I've been sober since 1985, 36 years. And it's been a blessing. Been a blessing. Andre Scott. Hobbies. I like to know, when do you do YouTube videos on the blue ram? I like to keep them, but can't keep them from dying. Andre. I don't think I've done a video on, that would be a good one, actually. As soon as these guys spawn, I'll do a video on them, because there are some steps that that you need to follow to make it work. In the meantime, Andre, come over to Discord. Get on Discord and ask some questions about it. There are a bunch of people over there doing rams and doing them very, very successfully. Somebody sent me a video recently about a mulch farm, which put me in mind of trying to do of ways to be able to strengthen what we're doing with the deep substrate. We're on the right track. The sand is both the key and the problem. But what we're working on right now is the possibility of doing a thin layer of mulch, capped with a very thin layer of very fine sand that would create a sandwich that we could grow shallow rooted plants in. Haven't done it yet. I did it one tank like that many years ago, and it was enormously effective. It kind of happened by accident, but I want to do that. I need to buy a bag of concrete sand. Christine, I need to get an SD card so bad, but I got groceries, $2.50 weird plastic for $2.40. Not enjoying this inflation. Amen. Right. Talking about the impact of inflation, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse. We have a government that wants to drive us down. Last trip to Costco, Joyce spent $300, walked away with spaces in my cart where I would normally need 2 carts. Yep. Yeah. And a lot of unhappiness about it. We're going to throw a line in the sand here, guys. I'm having trouble. Old man trouble. Old man trouble. So I need to get back on the track. Love you all. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Love you all. Delighted to be here. Bye for now. Yes, I am going to go to Aquachella. You go, freaky fish lady. Love you, mermaid. Thank you, NDMWO. Not a good idea, Sandhill. Just do sand, do it deep. Bye, y'all.